Sometimes, the most powerful history isn't written in textbooks. It's whispered or buried under the soil of a small town. Today, we're heading to Slocum, Texas, 1910, a town that should have been known for its hard-working farmers and quiet fields. Instead, it became the site of one of the darkest and least acknowledged massacres in American history. It began, like so many acts of racial terror in early 20th century America, with rumors. In July of 1910, tensions simmered between white residents and the small but thriving black community of Slocum farmers, merchants, and laborers. The story that spread, false, exaggerated, and malicious, was that black residents were arming themselves for an uprising. No proof. No organized threat. But fear and hate don't need proof. They just need a spark. Over the course of 2 brutal days, armed white mobs descended on the black neighborhoods of Slocum. They hunted men, women, and children, shooting them as they fled through fields, along roads, and into the woods. Newspapers at the time estimated anywhere between 8 and 22 people were killed, but oral histories suggest the real number may have been dozens more. The bodies were left in ditches. Some were buried in unmarked graves. And here's the part that chills the most. No one was ever convicted. So what caused it? The same combination that fueled so much racial violence after Reconstruction. Jealousy, fear, and the threat of black success. Slocum's black residents were doing well. They owned land, livestock, and stores. And to a white power structure built on the idea of black subservience, that was intolerable. Add to that the political instability of Jim Crow Texas, with white sheriffs and judges turning a blind eye and newspapers framing lies as justification, and what you get is a system that allowed mass murder to be called a disturbance. When a federal grand jury actually indicted several white men for murder, local authorities just let it die. The town went back to normal. The victims' families fled, and silence took the place of justice. The consequences weren't just in Slocum. They rippled outward through generations. Land that once belonged to black families was seized, sold, or abandoned. Descendants who might have inherited wealth or property instead inherited displacement and silence. For more than a century, the massacre wasn't taught in schools, wasn't marked with monuments, and wasn't spoken of in the open. People from Slocum grew up hearing only fragments, something bad happened, and don't ask. And yet, silence is its own form of violence. Because when you erase history, you erase accountability. It wasn't until 2016 that the Texas Historical Commission finally placed a marker acknowledging what happened. That's over 100 years of denial. 100 years where descendants carried memory without recognition. So why should we know this story now in 2025, or whenever you're listening? Because the patterns haven't disappeared. The tools may have changed laws, policies, and coded language, but the roots are the same. Fear of equality, fear of truth, and fear of confronting the past. Learning about Slocum isn't just about mourning what was lost. It's about restoring what was stolen. Dignity, land, legacy, and truth. It's about making sure never again actually means never again. When we name the forgotten, when we speak their stories aloud, we become the witnesses history tried to bury. And in that witnessing, there's healing. The soil of Slocum, Texas still holds the echoes of that July. But now, those echoes have names, voices, and memory. I'm your boy Soul, and this is Soul of Omen Presence. Buried in silence. Stories of vision, steel, and soul.